Final Fantasy games always spur some of the most exciting first impressions for me. However, they rarely conclude or even expand upon these initial fervors of excitement, as exemplified by my all too accurate assumptions about Final Fantasy XIII. So let's get this out now. I've recently begun playing Final Fantasy V Advance, and the game is one of the most immediately fun, not just of the Final Fantasy series, but of any game I've ever played. Before 7 forever changed the series, for better and worse, the games had this pattern of tonal and stylistic alteration between the odd and even-numbered titles. A symptom similar to the original Star Trek movies, but instead of alternating between bad, odd, and good, even, the first 6 Final Fantasies quite clearly alternate between simple and fun, odd, and serious and complex, even. 9 was of course a huge homage and love letter to the series' roots. But from what I've seen so far, 5 is the last to embody that odd-numbered flavor of unadulterated adventure. Quite like Dragon Quest. What I love most of all is how colloquial the characters are. The general sentiments towards this cast seem to be that they're all boringly lightweight. They lack a superlatively structured and sweeping narrative arc which baroquely builds to a beautiful climax, and are thus flat. I just don't get that. I've already fallen in love with these guys. As characters, sure, they have yet to venture outside the obviousness of their archetypes, and I doubt they will. Honestly, I don't want them to. These people aren't saviors of the world or champions of righteousness, brooding through plot convolutions of epic proportions. These people are folks you might actually want to spend time with. I could see myself going out to eat with the cast of Final Fantasy V, or catching a movie, or, hey, here's a thought, playing some video games. We could stay up all night terminating goblins, original Final Fantasy style. Though they do retain that now legendary status and title of Light Warriors, and their quest will surely hit all the beats of Crystal Salvation and Acquisition, it is within these admittedly tired and cliché foundations of the series that I find the game's true beauty. Final Fantasy V might be called a game about the mundane, about the routine. Its central game mechanic is, after all, jobs. But there is meaning and inspiration to be found in these things. The connections that the game makes to another masterpiece of archetypal adventure are no mistake. Final Fantasy V starts out as a cute retelling of the original Star Wars. This game, like that film, feels so familiar, like a forgotten fairy tale sprung to life, because it works within the established formulas of not just its genre, or its series, although it certainly plays with that, but of the semantics of storytelling, period. All of the primary characters are practically the same. The hero with the mysterious father, the old hermit, the princess, and the thief with the heart of gold, and a ship, and an animal sidekick. And what are these rumblings of secret siblings and the revelation of such? Really though, these references shouldn't be taken too literally. They act mostly as a starting point, a place to kick off the adventure to come. So, I won't be looking for Death Star analogs or anything. Taken within the context of the entire Final Fantasy series, though, I think the allusions to a galaxy far, far away elicit some interesting implications. By operating almost strictly within the parameters and conventions of the entire series thus far, Final Fantasy V strikes me as a love letter to a style that series creator and producer-director of Final Fantasy V, Hironobu Sakaguchi, must have realized would soon fade away. Final Fantasy V would prove to be the last of the thoroughly fantastic Final Fantasies. The then series staples of wizards, warriors, magic, and in V's case, my favorite, dragons. You name it, the first 5 Final Fantasies are full of any and all medieval fantasy tropes one could care to imagine. Again, 9 would return to these fantastic roots, but it was more explicit in its emulation, and its purpose was more so to self-consciously cap off the entire series as a whole, including the Steam and Cyberpunk 6 and 7 and the whatever the hell 8 was, to say goodbye to the series that once was Final Fantasy as it entered the 21st century. So, I think 5 still stands today as the ultimate classic Final Fantasy game, a condensation and culmination of that wacky Eastern ethos, that Japanese version of unmistakably Western medieval mythos, or Dungeons and Dragons. Most gamers know the very real finality surrounding the original Final Fantasy's production. Its success single-handedly allowed Squaresoft to continue developing video games at all. That Sakaguchi says his favorite games of the series are 5 and 9, the two love letters, comes as no surprise to me.